of Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Adoption of the agenda. We have something to add at the end.
Yeah, what do you want to do with that?
Yeah, we'll do it at other business.
And Mr. Chairman, would you mind moving the memorandum with Harpswell Aging at Home? I know we have someone here tonight, and I'm not sure that they want to sit through the vision appraisal revaluation update.
I know I
So,
don't.
so I might just suggest you move that up.
Yep. Yeah. Right after consent agenda.
Okay.
5.5.
Move what?
7 to 5.5.
6 to 5.5.
No, 7. 7. 7.
I mean 7, I'm sorry.
But it rhymes.
Why move 6 to 5.5, right?
Anyway. Public comment?
Good evening, everyone. Don Miskill, Mitchell Field Stewart. Quickly on the boat launch, all the final work's been done, and next Monday they will pave the causeway. And the parking lot is basically done. They're loaming all the places that our grass is going to grow. And that one will basically be at the point at which Mark will tell us if we're complete or not. The admin building, I sent Christy and Terry a note on the estimates I got for the final finishing, so we'll have to make some decisions about how we want to do that.
We'll
Yeah.
come back to the board with a
Yes.
recommendation. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about is, when Dave and I were at a meeting last night, he said there were some questions about how the Mitchell Field Master Plan update's working. And so I thought I would update everybody on that. We shifted our focus once we had the boat launch going and we had the other contracts going to the master plan update. And I've had several conversations with Christie. It's not going to be a wham bam, we're done and we're going to give you something in 2 months. The original master plan was done in 2007, the update 2019. We've had several documents that impact as we go forward. There was a natural resources assessment the town did by Stantec. There's an infrastructure report from DeLuca Hoffman that has some things in it. All those are being reviewed along with a waterfront document that we had done in, I think, about 2015. They looked at all of those. They've looked at the update. They're gone through and looked at the paragraphs. They've then been conducting meetings with interested parties, both here on town staff and the fishermen. They had some fishing representatives to go over things that should be considered as we go forward. They're also meeting with other interested parties. We had a presentation by the Mitchell Field Trust, I guess they were called. And one of their reps has been attending some of those update meetings. Once all that's done and they've gone through all those documents, we're then going to go out to the public. And we will have a series of public meetings, get feedback on what they think the future of Mitchell Field looks like. We'll also have some time with the boat launch operating to know if there are any things we need to do at that point. And then they'll come back and they'll make whatever changes they think are appropriate, and then we'll go back out to the public again. Our goal is that when we do ultimately go to a vote, that there wouldn't be a lot of controversy left at that point. I'm just looking through my notes to see if there's anything I've missed, and there really isn't, unless anybody has any specific questions. But I would tell the public that there are minutes from all of the master plan update subcommittees meetings. They're available. They're not on the website, but we have them, so that if anybody's interested in seeing those minutes, they're welcome to attend. They're welcome to see our notes on the Mitchell Field Committee minutes, which are available to the public on the website. And if anybody has any questions, they just get back to us. we're happy to give them handouts, answer any questions.
Remind me, Don, when do you guys usually meet? It's like,
We meet the first Monday of the month, except if it's a federal holiday.
so if people wanted to come, that'd be the
Correct.
time to
We
come.
meet at 5 o'clock here at the town office.
Thank you.
There was some question brought up also about the possibility of maybe not broadcasting the meetings, but recording them at least for video on demand, because they're held
Which
in this room.
meetings? The-
The
Mitchell Field.
Mitchell
Master-
Field and the
or,
Mitchell Field Master Plan
subcommittee,
particularly.
Both.
So I don't know, just think about that,
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
moving in that direction on, various committees, so that was one that was suggested as one that we might want to,
I mean, I think our minutes are pretty complete.
yeah.
Right, they certainly are.
And we list all the handouts that, any handouts we give to the committee are listed on those documents and are available electronically.
Yeah, I think with the video, people can watch it
Sure.
when they have time. It would be on the YouTube channel. It would not be necessarily a live Zoom interactive. It would be
Yeah.
videotaped so that we could
I
put
mean,
it
it
on.
doesn't impact us, the committee, directly. It just means somebody else has to be here to
Right.
run the equipment.
But we're hearing that people want to listen to some of the discussions that are happening at the committee level. Many committees, not just
Well,
Mitchell Field.
and also there's some deal of discomfort from, having spy cameras looking over your shoulder. So, I mean, I guess it's going to be up to you guys, but, we generally have a feeling we like.
Yeah, I think that would be a town policy, not just a
Yeah.
committee policy.
Yeah, I think we're really looking, we're developing a list of committees that, that we would add to our responsibility for filming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with transparency.
Let's
issue
say it's
there.
under consideration.
Sure.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll continue to keep those minutes flowing. Thank you.
May I ask
Yeah,
Dawn a couple of
absolutely.
questions?
Yes, Terry.
So, can you just generally describe, is this, and this is through my fault of not understanding before when you've been at the select board level, what level of revision is this master plan going under? Are you focused on just a couple of changes with the boat ramp?
No, ma'am.
You're doing a
They are
complete-
going through, they are going through the entire master plan, paragraph by paragraph, and looking at what was written. Is that still appropriate? Is it something we should retain? Should we make a major change? Should we pull something out that we're just simply not envisioning there anymore? I mean, the original master plan, pages 1 through 21 of the original master plan sort of focused, and then there was this whole big, huge section on housing that just went on and on and on and on. And so when the master plan update came out, if you look at the updated version in 2019, the affordable housing was down to a paragraph. And whether that's going to stay there or not, I have not. The subcommittee is being chaired by Mose Price, and I have not gotten involved. We're not trying to stick and rudder it. They're doing their thing, and then they'll report back to the committee, and then we'll go out to the public.
So-
Say they're ready.
So I'm happy to admit when Selectman Chipman said that there's been some questions, I asked several questions
That's-
at the select board meeting on Tuesday.
That's
So
okay.
thank you for coming to answer some
Oh, you're welcome.
questions.
Happy to.
So when there's a major overhaul going on such a large asset of the town, my questions, I don't want to say, my question is, or my comparison is when we developed that initial one, it was there wasn't a few people perhaps guiding the process. It was a consultant. It was a very large, engaging process.
You are
And-
correct.
And through fault not of how, my question is, why is this one a different process where there's a subcommittee of the Mitchell Field Committee without direct select board interaction? Why is the process so different for a complete overhaul for our largest property in the town of Harpswell to be used by so many? And I ask that of the select board because, in my opinion, they should be more engaged in this process, should be more involved in this process, as should the public. And I understand you said you're going to be going out to the public. I got a little confused. You said they'll go out to the public after reading some reports for feedback. It's not input, they're not, it's,
No, it's going to be input. In
okay.
other words,
So it's not reacting. When I hear feedback, I think of reacting to something.
well,
But you're saying it's
I'm
getting.
sure there will be feedback from the public because that's what they want to solicit. It's, I'm right with you in that this is not a closed loop thing where the subcommittee is just going to do their thing and then go out and say, here it is. I was part of that charrette when we did the original, but I think that a little bit of the difference, at least in my mind, was we had nothing. We didn't even know how to do the master plan. And so we engaged Holt and Associates, and we did that great big charrette on that Saturday up at the Harpswell School. And that's in there. I mean, that first, I just looked at the document again the other day. It's like 138 pages. It has the results of all 8 committees, and then they just did a whole bunch more work. I think a lot of that's already been done, so we have a little bit better sense of the field, and that's why we're going through to just look at what we already had in the master plan and say, is that still relevant? Is it changed? We didn't have a natural resources study from Stan Tech at the time, and we do now about, management of the forest and the rest of the area. Are there things to do? We have PFA study reports now. We know a lot more about the field, and so we can make some educated guesses, I think, on some stuff. Then when we go out to the public, it's going to be a presentation everywhere. It's not going to be one. It's going to be something over in the Cundies Harbor area, something here on the islands, and something over on the peninsula, and present to the people, here's where we are, here's what our thinking is, what do you think? We are also, I will say that the Recreation Director, Katie Neal, and Margaret McIntyre, the town planner, are going to those subcommittee meetings, and they're right with you there, making sure that the public knows and that there's input coming, and that we're then going to go out to the public and say, okay, here's what we're thinking, what are you all thinking?
So it is a presentation for
Yes, ma'am.
reaction.
Absolutely.
And then they'll be
Right.
allowed some input at that time. It's just,
Correct.
people are more free with input when they see a blank slate than when they're reacting to something that's presented. And so,
Right.
obviously, you can tell, I can come to meetings as well. I'm passionate about the
Sure.
property. I hear from other members of the public that they had, and many through their own fault, that of not watching select board meetings, because it has come through here. I just feel better hearing this from you, but I want to make sure that there continues to be a very open process, and I personally think a consultant could be helpful. And that's the end of my opinion this evening.
I would be happy to recommend that talk to Margaret. They're going to the meetings. I am not, about what they think on that particular issue at this point, or maybe later in the process when we get to the public part of it. I would also add that Christie approved an article that I wrote that will be in the May Harpswell Anchor. I just talked to JW today, and it's a complete update on all the things that are going on at the field. The boat launch, the admin building, the PFA testing, the coastal erosion, the dirt piles, talks a little bit about lost and found, and how we handle that, and talks about the dog issue. So there's an update for everybody that's going to appear in the paper.
Great.
So I attend those meetings as well, and I don't just sit
Right.
there quietly and listen, so.
Nope.
Yeah,
No, and I wasn't implying that, but you're one of 3.
yeah,
That's my point.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And that's why I try to make the minutes more than just say, oh, we had a discussion about this, so that people, when they look at the minutes, get a sense of what we talked about on those particular issues. With every single meeting, there's a chair update and there's a steward update on all the other little things that we're working on.
Oh, you're doing the minutes for the subcommittee?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I'm doing the minutes for the committee
Thank you.
as a secretary.
That's why
Chair.
they're such great minutes.
The Mitchell Field Committee minutes are incredible. They always have been. I thought you were talking about the subcommittee
No,
minutes.
they're doing their own minutes, and then they forward them, so we have them from all the meetings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Mary Ann Naif, Bailey Island. The fact that we were talking about the Mitchell Field Committee, would like to comment. I think there is a lot of interest. I know for myself, I'm interested in how the plan is, how the committee is progressing. And I have gone online to see if I could read minutes, and they're not there. And not to say that all of our committee's minutes are up either, but I think in a situation like this, people would like to be part of the process and the thinking. And right now, I kind of don't know. You know, you hear things, and I don't know how I would easily look at minutes. If they were televised, I could look at that. But it would be nice on what I think is going to be such a big subject when we're talking about that, for it to be much more open and available for people to follow. Thank you.
I can't say that it's every time, but the subcommittee usually meets directly after the Mitchell Field Committee meets because they're already there for our meeting. And anybody's welcome to attend. I know that there are several people that do attend on and off, monitoring what's going on or making an input. So I'll talk to Mose. We can certainly get those minutes gathered up and we can get them posted. I'll take that for action.
Thank you.
All righty. Select Board announcements.
I have one. I'd like to make townsfolk aware, and anybody that, not even all townsfolk, anybody that's going through the planning board process, it's been brought to my attention and several others that there is a scam email that is being sent out on behalf of our planning department, asking people to pay a fee that is not associated with the planning board. And the easiest way to tell that it's fraud is if you look at the email address that is being sent from, it is not a Town of Harpswell email address. So if you ever get an email asking you to pay the town money, just to be on the safe side, it doesn't hurt to make a phone call and double check with staff here. Don't wire money without, or send money, a check or anything without checking with staff first, you know, because I've heard of at least 3 people that have gotten this email now.
And they were all applicants?
Yeah, they were
to the
all
Harpswell
applicants that are
Planning Board.
going currently or have recently gone through the planning board. So it seems as though they're targeting people that have submitted planning board applications.
Oh, nice try. So I have one. It's my annual announcement for John Gillum Day, which is the annual roadside cleanup. It's the 25th, which is this Saturday, is the official day, but we've been doing it all week, and as you can notice, there are bags of appearing on the sides of the road. That's people who have been out all week doing this during good weather. And you just leave the bags there on the main roads, and they will be picked up at the end of the day on Saturday by volunteers. And you come over to even if you picked up during the week, come over to here, to this room, the town office, on Saturday, this Saturday at noon, the 25th, for free pizza, which the stores donate, the local stores. So trash bags can be picked up at the stores, and here, I guess there are trash bags here, and rubber gloves. And leave the bags on the side of the road, pick up in front of your house, just, you know, nothing, no, you don't have to do a whole mile, but just let's get the roadside cleaned up for spring, make it look a little bit better. Free pizza at noon.
Is it drug to take back Saturday?
Yes,
though?
I was going to mention that, but go ahead.
Oh, never mind.
No.
I don't know if it's going to coincide with this.
Perfect timing, though.
Yeah. In that case, Town Administrator's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Well, I want to follow up on what David said about volunteers and the things that they're doing at Harpswell, because it is Volunteer Appreciation Week. And I know we recently recognized Don Miskell as being kind of statewide, you know, recognized for the volunteer work he does. But we have so many people and so many organizations in Harpswell that really just give of themselves and give back to the community. And some of the examples I was going to cite, I've seen the roadside folks, cleaning up and the bags that are left on the side of the road, and it's just an incredible volunteer effort. In addition, we've got a group of people who have been working at the concession stand at Trufant Somerton Field. I mean, using their labor and their goodwill and their equipment to really, better the community. So I think we're very appreciative of that. And then just this week, the Harpswell Garden Club, just put new loam on the garden out here and, made sure it's going to look great when everything starts blooming. So there's so many examples. I could go on and on. Our volunteer rescue people and firefighters, I mean, the amount of time and effort they put in. So I just think, we benefit greatly, and I wanted to make sure that I was, recognizing that happens in Harpswell and how we all really just are part of making this community so much better by participating in these kinds of events. On the side of hiring personnel, we did get a recommendation from the Harpswell Community Garden Committee, and they are recommending that the town hire Emily Bell Hirth, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as a
Close enough.
part-time garden coordinator position for a pay rate of $22 per hour starting April 25th. So we would ask the board to approve this recommendation. This position is funded through a grant from Harpswell Heritage Land Trust.
It's a no-brainer, so moved.
So seconded.
No opposition, all in favor?
Okay. And so we're hiring for a harbor master, and I wanted to say we have a few applications, and the town should start to think about setting up interviews, and I had heard from a couple members of the board that you'd like to be involved. So I didn't know if, that's still the case, or if one of you wants to serve on the interview
I would like to
team.
be involved.
Okay.
I don't know if I can't speak for my counterparts.
Oh, yeah, no.
You would like to be? Okay.
Go for it.
So we would have 2 board members, and it would then constitute a board meeting.
Right.
Because
Okay.
it's a majority, and so we would,
Two.
we would hold those in executive
All right.
session. I mean, you don't have to be, but if you'd
Oh,
like to
sure,
be.
sure.
Okay. So I imagine that I would be part of the interview team, and maybe Terry if she'd like to be, but, I can assist the board with the process.
No, she
So
didn't look too
I'll
enthralled.
start setting up
We
those
need help.
interviews. I will start setting those up, and I think, I wanted to mention that we are looking for someone at the recycling center and transfer station, if anyone's interested. There's a year-round position and a seasonal position still available. So-
Still town lands monitor
And
too?
a town lands monitor, thank you. We do have a couple of applicants
Oh, we
for
do, good.
that. Yeah, so we will start interviewing for those positions soon. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right. Consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes, and the authorization of the warrants.
And I second it. Oh, congratulations.
You told me I had to get the next one, so I jumped on it.
They freaked me out a little bit.
I know.
All in favor? All right, we got a slight change. Memorandum with Harpswell Aging at Home regarding medical durable equipment. Sorry, Deb, we knocked you down one.
Good evening, everyone. So as everyone knows, the town has a durable medical equipment loan and distribution program. The fire administrator has been kind of running it by myself. It got to be too much. Tina's been helping quite a bit. Denise helps out quite a bit. And a bunch of the requests come through Harpswell Aging at Home. So there was discussions back and forth whether we could do some kind of partnership with them so that, we could get more materials out and, the more efficient manner of getting stuff out there. So you see before you a memorandum of understanding. That'll be between the town and HA. So we'll maintain storing the equipment. I'm gonna keep some stuff at my office so that if someone comes to town hall, they can still get items. Or if HA needs to grab something for a client that they're working with, they can stop by at town hall and get it. we're also going to keep a pretty good-sized cache of equipment down at Mitchell Field where it is now. So,
So Mike, on the third paragraph down, it says the town will maintain possession. That was not my understanding. It was that it would be given to
it's
people.
just that we're keeping it here.
Okay.
That's all we meant by that.
Okay.
Will the people from Hall be able to access the equipment in the generator building if they need it, or will you be the one accessing that?
I've given them a key so they can access it down there. The one thing in common that we're gonna have is the second page of this is the receipt agreement
Yep.
with the person that takes it. So both parties have agreed we'll use the same sheet. Once we get this sheet, they're gonna keep their own, and I'm gonna get a secondary record of it. And also, this is placed on a spreadsheet that myself and Tina keep. So that'll all be tracked that way. We didn't get too excited about a process of bringing the stuff back. It seems like a lot of the stuff now, it goes out and it never comes back. So just kind of streamline the record-keeping process. So you'll notice with the receipt, we tried to keep that a little more vague, and keep the town's responsibility for maintaining the equipment and loaning it out and all that stuff. Questions?
No, it sounds like it makes perfect sense.
I move that we approve this memorandum.
Right?
And if you didn't catch something,
You
yeah.
want me to
I mi-
second it before he speaks?
Yeah,
I'll second it.
yeah, any discussion? Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot
You
the
don't-
discussion.
It looks like you don't have to convince us, Mark.
Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to convince anyone.
I know.
Mark Weaver, and I live on the Neck, and I'm with Harpswell Aging at Home. So what I wanted to make clear is this really isn't a loan program. It's people can bring their durable medical equipment to the town. The town will have it in its possession, but not taking ownership of it. It's just holding it. And then we have a volunteer. Chrissy's speaking of great volunteers in this town. We have somebody in Ha who has worked with durable medical equipment in the past, and she is happy to take the inventory and keep track of it and be on top of it. So it really has changed from what was going to be, instead of a receipt, a one-page agreement type of thing with a loan, to just you come, you pick it out. If you need it, we're here. Get what you need, and just sign this receipt, and if you need something else, let us know.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
that's your legal opinion.
Okay.
I think
one of you.
I
No.
we seconded it.
We've moved and seconded. Where have you been?
Yeah.
All in favor? That was easy.
Yeah,
All right.
there we go. That
Oh,
has
yeah.
the right date on it, right?
Oh,
You're efficient. Well done.
put your scratch on there.
I think the word
Like
is
it.
sufficient.
Yeah,
I've learned over the years not to leave before.
smart man.
Well, you're afraid we might lose it?
There's my chicken scratch.
All right,
Okay.
all right,
Thank you both. Nice job.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, vision appraisal reevaluation update.
So tonight, we have Steve Whalen from Vision Appraisal, and he's going to provide the board with an update on where we're at in the revaluation project and how they're going to bring it home to completion. How's that?
That sounds great then. Good evening. I'll just give you a quick status update. So we have approximately 96 or 97% of the town listed. That means we've visited it once. We also try to get in inside the property, so we do what's called a second call. So we're breaking the town into three fingers, so to speak. So the first one was 453 letters were mailed to the first finger for properties that we did not enter the first time. And out of the 453, we got 111 request to come into the property, which is approximately 25%, which is a little bit better than most towns. We are currently mailing the second finger, which will be mailed tomorrow or Monday. That's 1,870 letters. And again, that's for second calls for properties that we did not enter on the first visit. We also have approximately 700 building permits left to do that we haven't reviewed yet. We'll be working on that. And approximately 180 properties on the islands. We have done some islands and some properties, but we still, because of the weather and time of the year, things like that, we obviously couldn't get to them. Now that the weather's nice, we're going to start heading back out to the islands and working on that. So that's the general. We have one more finger after our, for second calls, after our 1,870 are mailed out, and we'll follow the second mailing with the third mailing, and we'll just roll right into the third one. We'll have a couple people up there. Typically what they'll do is we'll do the second calls for the properties, and those go fairly quick because we've already done the outside of the property. And if there's any time in between the appointments, sometimes you have an hour or two, sometimes because the appointments always aren't right in a row, we'll fill that in with building permits in that area. So that'll be kind of doing two at once. So that's what's left to be done pretty much. Going forward, after we finish that up, we're working on the appraisal and the value tables currently. We will give the assessor the values to review in late June. In around 6/17 is when we'll be approximately mailing out the notices. So what that is it's a letter with the new updated value on it. And if you don't agree with that value, then you have the right to make an appointment and come in and talk with Vision and explain why the value is incorrect. So after we mail those out, those will be going on for about a month. We're having the hearings, and we have phone hearings and in-person hearings. And the other towns have been running about 50-50 with for the phone versus the in-person. We give everybody the option of whatever one they want. It's good for people that have second houses that aren't currently there. Some of the elderly people, they tend to go towards the phone. We'll do that, and then we'll type in any changes or any mistakes we find after the hearings, and then we'll submit the final values or the updated values to the assessors in late July. And that's pretty much how much is done currently and what we have in front of us to do.
Okay, just to explain some of these speaks of fingers and stuff like that. The first set was 123 that went out, and that was the 25% of callbacks. The second letters that are going out this week are covering Bailey Island up to Gunpoint, Long Point area, which is map 20 up to 45. Actually, it's up to Pinkham Point Road. So that's the next stretch that's going to be getting letters, which is the 1870 that he said. The remaining would be from Pinkham Point all the way down to Cundy's Harbor. So that, we don't know the total number of people that need callbacks yet on that.
Is that where we're missing the 3% that hasn't been completed yet? When he's
3% is actually the islands, because he's already done, data collectors have done all the mainland.
My parents have had nobody come to their house, and they live in Cundy's Harbor.
Yeah, well, we'll check we have a spreadsheet of everybody that got visited and what they did. If your parents weren't there, they would have measured the house anyway, and then they'll be getting the letter.
Oh, okay.
Basically
Yep.
indicating that.
I thought they left something behind. That
No,
was my
we
mistake.
did not leave any notification that they were there, because we didn't want to advertise and
Yep.
solicit,
That
whatever.
was my mistake.
So, so they followed what they were supposed to do on that.
one thing you just said is that you were going to give the assessing office the information the end of June. On your contract, it was the first week of June. And that I would, and the board would be able to review these numbers from June 1st to the 14th, which is
Okay.
actually a Sunday, but.
Okay, we'll get them to you as soon as we can. I don't have that. I thought the contract I was looking at, I thought it said June 26th, but if it's a few weeks earlier, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It, depends on how long your review will be.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so.
And so basically, then the hearings will start probably June 21st to, you actually have a month time of hearing time. That is your mailing and your hearings, is what you did on the contract, is June 21st to July
Right.
21st.
And typically, we don't need that long
much
because,
time.
yeah, because we just throw more people at it so we can do more hearings. So there's not one person doing the hearings.
Yeah.
There might be multiple people on the phone, which we'll never see. They'll do them from home. And then we might have a few people in the town hall doing them there also. So if we get a really large turnout, which typically it's been running approximately 5%, is what's been happening in the other towns. I think Brunswick was around 3 or 4. It wasn't 5 when we just finished it recently. So, we're never sure what it's going to be, but we'll just put a few more people, there, and they'll get done a little bit quicker.
Okay. Could you also send me a letter of a copy of what the people are going to be getting? Because you sent me 2 towns. I like to actually maybe see other towns, because some of the information you're putting on the letter wasn't that much information so
Yeah,
that they
okay.
could review it. I just wanted to see the
Yeah.
formats.
Yeah, so we're not sending them information about their property. We're saying, so half the cities and towns will say, here's your new number, here's your old number. And the other half of the cities and towns just say, here's your new number, and they don't include the old number. That's basically it, along with all the information on how to make an appointment, the 800 number, and you can call, and you don't have to use the 800 number, you can call and actually make appointments yourself online. So I'll send you a few more examples, but it's pretty straightforward with a lot of our information about how to make the appointment, and then you can decide if you want the old number and the new number, or just the new number.
And all this information will be updated on the town website, your website of Vision, because right now we've got it so that nobody's able to download
Yeah.
any information from your system right now.
So we have the website vgsi.com, and you can look up, once we open it back up with the new values, you can look at your property or anybody else's in the town. Also, there's at the top of the page, there's a sales search. So you can say, for example, if you have a ranch and you're curious about the ranches that sold, you can put in the type of property, the size, the year built, all types of different things, and it will give you all the sales that were used within the town only also, if you want to really go down the rabbit hole.
So my question would be, if you included the old value, is there, this sounds like additional work on your end, is there more cost for doing that?
No,
It's the same
absolutely
thing.
not. It's the old values currently in the system, in the software. So we just say, pull the old value before we update it and pull the new value and put them side by side.
So Deb, I think that's what I would like.
That's what you want? All of you?
Yeah, no, it's just the same to us either way. It just depends on, which
We'll
way you
look
want
at
it.
'em.
You're
We'll
gonna
look
get
at the
more
different
conflict
formats
if
and
people
see.
see the old number and the new number, or if they see a giant spread. But I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
more transparent
Pull
too, so.
the wool over their eyes, is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
No, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, I think that's the most transparent way to do it, but I think that
Yes.
we should be prepared for people that can test it.
Well, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plan on it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Could I ask a question about the follow-up meeting? So once people receive the letters with their old value, new value, and they can call a number and set up an appointment, are some of those telephone appointments, or are they in-person
Yeah.
appointments?
So it's been running about 50% will be phone appointments, and that's up to them. We don't have any number. If they all want to be all phone or all in person, so be it. But we give everybody the option to either to either call on the phone and talk to somebody if you're not in the area, or come on into wherever we're going to hold the hearings at that time. So, yeah, I can't say, but for the most part, it's been running about 50-50 with the phone versus the in-person hearings.
Yeah, I think that's great that you offer that, because we have a lot of non-resident taxpayers, so they might not be in the town at that time, and that
Right.
therefore they can make a phone appointment to discuss the value.
Right. It started truthfully during COVID, and it's been popular. And I think it for that exact reason, or some of the elderly people, and it's been working out pretty well. And it's the exact same as coming in. We'll consider it the same way, and then everybody that has an appointment will get another letter in the mail, either with the original value or a lower value. So if there was an adjustment because of the hearing, then the adjustment will be reflected in the value we'll send you with the new letter.
Get it?
So we've always heard that during a reval, you're going to get half of the values will go up and half will go down, and are you seeing that? or-
A third.
And third,
No way they're going.
I'm sorry, third up, third down, and third say the same.
Yeah.
This is Harpswell.
They're all going up.
Is that a misnomer?
Do you have off the top of your head some idea of what that's going to look like?
Not exactly, but in the old days before real estate went crazy in New England,
Yeah.
You'd actually have a third, a third, a third. It was kind of funny. It would work out pretty close a lot of times. Since the craziness with everybody sitting in town, no matter where you are, maybe particularly, the waterfront in your town, for the most part, no properties will be going down. Now, I say for the most part because there are properties that could have burned down, got torn down, etc. So obviously they're going down.
Absolutely.
But, yeah,
expect
so,
that.
but, so I'm not going to be held to, oh, this one went down. Yeah, there's some that could go down because they're no longer on the land anymore. But for the most part, everybody's going up.
So that third rule doesn't really apply much anymore.
It doesn't apply anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that goes down, it's like that book, Where's Waldo?
Where's,
You can't find it?
I did.
no, he explained it as basically
Oh, yeah, he did.
the tear downs
Yeah,
and stuff
right.
like that, and the burn
Lost it into
downs,
the
the
ocean.
loss
Oh, yeah.
of,
Oh, no, I'm not,
so,
nothing to do with the messenger.
I know.
I know reality.
All right.
no, the only one concern I had is that, the amount of time, and I just wanted to make sure that all the data is accurate, so that when you run your numbers and your tables, that everything is okay.
Yeah, so we have the three gentlemen that had been there for the majority of the time. They're still with us. They just happen to be working in New Hampshire right now because because of the weather and getting to the islands and things like that. So they'll be coming back probably starting maybe next week. If we get the letters out in the mail tomorrow, it takes a few days to get to people. So I'm not sure if we're going to start going back for the second call to the houses next week or the week after. It just depends on when they actually start to hit the people's houses. And I'm always also looking into getting 2 additional people who have been with the company for years up there to help out also. So I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to start getting on it immediately. And like I said, the letters are going out. We're rolling in the third finger, so to speak. And the reason why we're doing fingers is we just don't want one person to be in one corner of the town and then they have to go to the total opposite corner of the town. And the next appointment might be scheduled 15 or 20 minutes away. And there's no way to go from one side of town to the other and go through the house and get back to the other side of town. So we try to break all cities and towns into sections or pieces, so that way they're not zigzagging as much across the town.
You're
So
gonna
this is
need
the-
to be careful when you are scheduling Bailey Island and Gun Point. That is about a half an hour away from each other.
Yeah. so
And if they
that's-
have an hour time, they might be a little tight on their scheduling.
Yeah.
So,
we-
but I'll review them when I get the emails and print the cards for the guys, and if I see something that's like, maybe I can adjust it between the 3 people.
Yeah,
I can
okay,
do that
thank you.
for
Yeah,
you.
we're pretty good.
Yep.
For the most part, we've been on time. On occasion, we're not quite, because you get into a property and somebody really wants to talk to you. But for the most part, we've been pretty close to
We're a
on
chatty
time.
group out here.
I understand your concern, Debbie, with the time frame and stuff, and I guess my question would be, what is our plan for getting these people out to the dozens and dozens of islands we have in town with houses? In some of the islands, you literally have to go to each house by boat.
Right,
You
right.
know, there's no way to walk around the island.
Yeah, I gave the harbor master before she left a copy of the map of the islands that have not been visited yet and the areas, because some of the islands we have done, people call them out and we made
Yeah.
appointments and stuff like that. So,
That was
There-
our plan, though, was to use the harbor master
the
boat.
harbor master boat and also Paul's Marina has offered to, if they need to drive over to Brunswick and just get dropped off and they can walk Birch Island. Birch Island is the biggest one.
Long Island.
Long
I
Island
was
is the
gonna
next
say-
one. Long Island, they haven't done any.
I can help with Long Island if they want to get on a
So
lobster
basically
boat
start
and
at
in a
Long-
skiff.
Okay.
I can bring people to Long
Yeah, and
Island.
again, it's weather, tide, because.
Weather and
portion
tide
of-
won't factor into me with
Okay.
Long Island.
Well, Long Island with the tide at the north end.
I can get
Mud
there
flat.
too with I got a small boat I can tow,
Oh, okay,
so we can
Alright.
get them there.
good.
Okay,
There
yeah,
we go.
great. Thank you.
So, yeah.
I'll take care of Long Island and all those big islands up there.
Haskell Island right next to it, or.
Haskell is not next to it, I won't do that one.
Don't
That's
do
a
that
lot
one.
further away.
Oh, well, Haskell's on the other side. so
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
say-
that's out of my territory. I'll stick, anything in the New Meadows I can help you out with.
Yeah, yep. The other H Island over there. There's one blank on it.
Would that include Yarmouth? And-
Yep, there's Yarmouth,
Yarmouth is done.
Bombazine.
Yarmouth is
What
done.
about Bombazine?
Bombazine, one of them.
Yeah, there's only two. Yeah, there's only two
Yeah,
houses.
there was one that we
Trying to
went
think of-
to. Bombazine,
Yep, sheep.
sheep's the
another
one I'm
I can
thinking of.
get you
Sheep's
to.
the one I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, because of the fire, you can get around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Long Island's the one that's gonna be a challenge. That's
Yeah.
gonna be, I'm gonna have to drop them off
Yeah.
and bring them in by skiff to each individual house at a time. So
Yeah.
that would,
Wow.
they should plan on a day.
Yep, yep,
That's
yep,
great.
so. Yeah. Anything else, guys? Any other questions or?
I don't think so.
The guys that go with me will be spoiled. I'll be
Yeah.
keeping cabin and TV.
Yeah.
And people in the harbor master boat will be freezing.
I think I just want to reiterate that early June date at which you kind of transfer some information to our assessing office, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
we're feeling like, that timeline is crunching, there's still, more to do, and we want to support you so you can get this work done and we can kind of stay on schedule.
Okay, thank you, and like I said, I'm looking for additional people to speed it up a little bit also. So I think we should be pretty good. If I get a few more, I'm looking at 2 more people, so that'll help out the situation.
How are the commercial people working? Okay.
Yeah, everybody's great, all the.
Have you gotten
original-
your replies back, the questionnaires that you sent
Oh,
out?
oh, the
How are your,
questionnaire.
because I didn't
Yeah.
get to see any, so I was just, I got one in the office for you to give you, but,
Yeah, so we sent out income and expense statements to all the commercial properties. For the most part, commercial properties are done on the income basis, based on how much you're renting it for, and that will reflect how much it's worth. No matter what city and town we send them out in, it's usually a pretty light return. So I try to supplement that with some information from the internet. For example, if you had any hotels, I could look up the values pretty easily on that. Self-serve, self-storage places, you can get, internet, you can get rents from that. So I try to, apartment buildings, any complexes, usually they advertise online. So I try to add that to the I&Es also. But I'd have to say it's been pretty light, but it hasn't been none.
because our
but-
commercials are not like other commercials. They're more just
Right.
boatyard, a restaurant, a motel, a bed and breakfast. It's not, or a commercial could be just a wharf too,
Right.
with a fish house.
And the other thing is too, typically it's not for owner occupied, because then you're just kind of paying yourself and it's an accounting practice. So this is for people that own it but rent it to somebody that's not related to them. For example, if you own a warehouse and you're renting the warehouse for $8 a foot, then we'd like to know it's $8 a foot for that size of the warehouse. Not that it's a family member and you're giving them a deal plus or minus. So if you have a lot of owner occupied, that takes all those right off the top.
All right,
Okay.
Great, thank you.
thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
For
Okay,
the time.
thank you.
Appreciate the update, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be home anytime soon, so that's a perfect reason to go for a
Well, you got some help
you know.
with getting to the island.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I ain't hauling anytime
That's
soon, so
wonderful.
that gives me an excuse to go for a boat ride.
That's great.
Recommendation regarding short-term disability.
You want to take that one?
So the board may recall that the state of Maine adopted a law, the Maine Paid Family and Medical Leave Act, and employers have been withholding the premiums from employees and also paying the employer premiums since January 1, 2025. Well, benefits go live with the state as of May 1, and we always said, once that went live, they always would say at the training seminars and there are handouts through our short-term disability company. We've always heard, you may want to reevaluate what you have for short-term disability and whether you still want to continue carrying that or not. Christy and myself met with our short-term disability company representative, and with the Paid Family Medical Leave Act going live, our current short-term disability will essentially not pay out. So
why have it?
So why have it? So we are recommending that you do cancel that policy effective May 1. I will say under the current, with the additional Paid Family Medical Leave Act, you don't have to take all those 12 weeks at once. I'm not sure that the public really knows that. It's intended for, a sickness, an illness, or protection or bonding with a family member, things of that nature. But you can take 1 week, you can take 3 weeks, and then you can take the additional balance at a different time. It's a rolling calendar year, and so it's not like if you're sick and you were only, you had a surgery and you were back at 10, that's not your one shot and done. If you take 10 weeks, you still have an additional 2 weeks. So I want to make that clear because a lot of people I've spoken to thought, but what if I lose that and then I get a serious injury later or need some more time off? And so you still have that available for your use. The only time, in conjunction with the Paid Family Medical Leave Act, that our current disability potentially could pay out is if somebody used all of their 12 weeks of their paid family medical leave time and then suffered had another need to go out, our short-term disability would pay. I will tell you that our historical use has been very low. I've worked for the town for 26 years, but in this position for 20 years, and definitely under 10, but potentially just one hand of our uses of our short-term disability. But it was a great benefit to have available, and now we have an even greater paying time available. And so staff, Christy and myself, are recommending that the select board do cancel, for your consideration, cancel the short-term disability policy.
Effective May 1st, I so move.
I so second.
I don't see any discussion. All in favor?
Right.
Here's what we've all been waiting for. Place car up for bid.
So this is interesting. If you've looked in our back parking lot,
I kind of like the collection.
You mean our used car lot?
we have quite a fleet out back.
They all look alike.
All black with the exception of one white one. But this one was being used by the assessing office, and with some trips about, primarily Vision is doing those trips, but they did check out that vehicle. All of our vehicles that were not used during the winter needed inspections, needed some work done, and so this vehicle had gone to the town's mechanic, and a number of things came back. And through that, I'm recommending that you place this one up for sale, and then, the assessing vehicle is actually a year older. It's a 2017. It's the one that the board leased to Midcoast Hospital that has been returned to the town. It is higher on mileage, but as you know, we have continual vehicles coming and going, and so this one does have a list of known issues. We always try to put out what we have for known issues, and I have no idea what the board would like to consider for minimum bid. I will tell you, the last one that we placed up for bid, it had some known issues as well. I don't believe as many as, like the solenoid, that kind of thing. But you had a $4,000 minimum bid because pricing of cars is still, and this is a very low mileage.
No kidding.
Low in the scheme of things, 123,000, but.
Actually, any of the vehicles, especially GM, you go to the mileage, then turn it, then it'll tell you the hours.
Got it.
Yeah.
The sheriff's
Different than the road miles.
The mileage is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
The hours are everything.
Got
They
it.
never shut them off.
And that would be the case with
That's
with
like
this
my
one.
truck. My hours, I average like 2 miles an hour based on my mileage and my hours, because I let it idle so much.
But,
You know-
what are you saying, 4,000?
Well, Terry's saying that,
saying
the
it's the
price
select
of
board.
used cars, I just bought a 2019 for $20,000.
I just typed in 2018 four-door Chevy Tahoe with 123,000 miles, and the cheapest one that comes up is 16,000.
Yeah, well,
Well, but but
But I'm not saying
Yeah,
we need to
right.
make the minimum.
look,
bid.
look at the issues of this
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
and frankly, a lot of the transmissions on these things are.
right,
good
yeah,
for
it's about
120,000
cooked right
miles.
now, yeah.
I'd go with 4.
I'd go even less.
Start with 4.
All right.
I will say that last one that you sold, you got quite a bit higher than the minimum bid.
Do you remember what the minimum bid was?
It was 4,000,
Oh, okay.
and I believe,
Was it a
And-
pickup truck, though?
no, the last Tahoe I looked up.
Oh.
And intended to go back and see what the final price was and ran out of time, but my memory serves me correctly, it may have been double.
I think 4,000.
I think what the bidders tend to do is what Matt just did, and they look at, okay, what are these things worth? And they see the issues, and so they're not gonna bid $4,001. That's not going to be the case.
It already needs like
Need,
at least $2,000 worth
at
of work.
least. And like you said, it's gonna need a transmission soon.
All right, 6,000, we'll take the best
Oh,
offer.
6, okay.
All right, 6,000?
All right,
All right,
all right.
all right.
And I mean, worst case scenario, correct me if I'm wrong here, this is new to me. If it doesn't sell, we can come back and lower that
Right.
minimum bid, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, 6.
Yeah,
And if nothing else, we put it out by the side of the road, it's a great speed deterrent.
It
well,
is.
that's true,
If
yeah,
that is
yeah,
valid,
it
we
is.
can move it if we get speed complaints, we can sell it in different places throughout the town.
Move it around.
Works like a charm.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to vote on that.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't hurt, yeah.
I move that we put $6,000 as the minimum.
I'll
bid.
second that.
Yeah. All in favor? Hey, wait till I ask. All right. Horizontal Bridge Wharf Lease and Policy.
So I did my best to go based off of last few meetings, and,
You managed to figure out all the jargon?
well,
That was a
Christy and I were
miracle.
looking at our notes, and I may have had your categories wrong. I don't know if you had 4 different, or if you had 3 different, if you had Harpswell resident and
Taxpayer.
non-resident taxpayer, if you had that in the same group, or if you had people that lived here first. But anyways, I want to point that out.
No, you got that right.
Yeah,
Well,
that is.
no, I think you
wanted
did well,
4
because I was
categories?
thinking about this.
Yeah.
The residents who no longer live here, but they've lived here, they're not paying taxes. So the non-resident taxpayer would probably be.
Yeah, I agree. with David just
I
said.
will point out there are a couple of small typos that you probably want to fix before this becomes the permanent thing.
In the new stuff?
Yeah, the the following provisions, whom and thee should be separated, and down on,
Where are you? I'm sorry.
On the
well,
very
the
beginning,
prior,
I see it.
before number one, the
Oh,
paragraph.
in the current policy, not the proposed changes. Okay, so the following provisions.
Well, the one that I had in my, the one that I have here, it's, that was in my folder.
Oh,
Oh,
but all
there's
that's
just a
new is
space.
the underline.
No, the with whom.
With whom and thee is run together there, right? There should be a space.
Oh, right,
Okay.
in the existing
And the
policy.
same thing under number 3.
I never catch any of this.
On paragraph 3, this is. Written left,
Yep.
Paragraph 3 or number
see it.
3?
paragraph 3, or it's numbered 3. There shall be no property left on site that is.
Third line down, far left.
Yeah, got it.
Spaces, okay.
So fix those
Isn't
before it
this a-
becomes the permanent.
That is the permanent policy, but I will correct them with this change, because
Okay.
all that's proposed for change now is the underlined
Yeah, it just-
added stuff.
Right, yeah,
Just a
yeah.
couple little typos.
And I'm good with those.
This and is are cozy.
But I did want to, I wanted to remind the select board of your interim harbor masters, what really brought this before the select board is there's one current lessee that will not be renewing. And so this is the first time that your policy came up, and then this board asked, well, should we have a priority listing? But we've never circled back. I just want to make sure that once you make your final changes and adopt this revised policy, that I point out that Darcy had previously pointed out, so there's one that's willingly turning it in, and then she had indicated that the other one had not entered into a lease for the last 2 years, and had indicated that that wharf is primarily gone. I did end up going and pulling the picture of it, and the fixed wharf is still attached. It was always a short one there,
Yeah.
and
The
a
wharf itself
ramp.
is still there.
The wharf itself is still there, and the ramp is still sitting on the wharf.
Yeah.
So I probably incorrectly assumed that that was a clean slate there, and so I wanted to make sure that I didn't give you that impression that it's a clean slate there. So that second spot, if you're putting the two up for lottery, whoever may win that spot will have to work with that prior lessee as well,
Right, right,
similar to
right.
the other one.
Right,
That'll be
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
You can
Yeah.
negotiate it, Terry.
That's up to whoever wins the lottery. And then Christy and I have been discussing how you saw the lottery. So with your priority list, do you see one lottery with every, I mean, I have no idea how many names we would be getting, but do you just go ahead and pull everybody and then put them in the categories, or do you see one lottery?
I see them being separated, like we take all the applicants that are Harpswell residents, put them into a hat, and
Right.
we'll say there's only one. You know, we pick that one name out of the hat, and then we would move to put all the non-resident taxpayers in a hat, pick a
So a
name. from-
lottery
If it gets,
for each.
but if there's more than Harpswell residents, you know, they'd all go to them.
I think a
Thank
step
you.
before that they get vetted by the Fisheries Committee.
I had no issue with that either. I think
Yeah,
Before they even get the lottery, they should be vetted.
on the way to the hat that they go into, right, they would
Yeah.
have to go through, yeah.
Yeah, you can send them to the Fisheries Committee, and the Fisheries Committee can vet them and then put them in the correct category, if that's the easiest way to do it.
Well, let me just
Go
read
ahead.
to you what's in your current policy
Yep.
and make sure I'm clear on whether you're making a change to that policy.
Yep.
So it says, at the time, excuse me, let me back up. Okay. Anyone,
What do you do?
so you extended the date until the last business day in May.
Yep.
And then they're supposed to submit a letter of intent to the town clerk's office,
Yep.
along with a fee, and only lessees that provide proof of a commercial marine-related business will be accepted. So that right there is kind of implying,
What are we accepting as proof for marine-related
well,
business would be my
so
question.
we need to,
Yep,
we have,
committee.
this policy was revised in 2023, and no one can find a letter of intent. So we need to develop a letter of intent, and it will it'll ask questions apparently on what that is, but then there's another spot that mentions it, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear on where you're adding this other one. So it says, once the top drawn applicant accepts the lottery results, they shall have 30 days to submit a lease agreement, proof of insurance, payment, and proof of marine-related business. So they have to submit something at the letter of intent and then their proof of marine-related business. And maybe they have that 30 days to submit that, and then is it just, I want to be clear on where you'd like this.
Because that right there is the cart after the horse.
Right.
We want the cart before the horse. You vetted before.
Right, vetted before, and then they do, I think if they get vetted before, they don't have to show proof of that marine-related business once they win the lease, because they've already been vetted, and we know they have.
I think the question, what does vetted mean? I don't know that.
Well,
No.
make sure they're legit, and.
Make sure they
So
have a
do they have a
marine-related.
license? Do they have a business?
Do
So
they
I
have a
think it
business?
would be
They
helpful.
live in town, are fishermen,
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
they fit one of these
Well,
categories.
the way I
Where are
look
they?
at it, the easiest and fairest way to look at it is if you have a marine-related business, you file a Schedule C. So we don't need to see their income or anything. They're more than welcome to cross off all the numbers, but they should be able to show that they've submitted a Schedule C with their taxes to a fishing-related business.
Could that just be a question on the letter of intent that says, do you file this, and they have to
I
check it?
think we need to see proof of it, because anybody can check a box and say yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we, even with our property tax assistance program, we're very careful about not having income information.
Right, they
Um,
could, they could
Yeah.
block all that out.
Yeah.
We don't need the income information, we just need.
So I think we need to know what you're requiring. Is the board requiring that document?
Let's see if something global will work. So on your second page of the policy that was provided to the select board, the first paragraph under lottery process, the last sentence, it currently says, only lessees that provide proof of a commercial marine-related business will be accepted. How about we scratch will be accepted, I'm sorry, keep will, related business will proceed to the review stage.
Uh-huh, there you go.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
And then do you have to say from after that?
The only reason I say a Schedule C is because what I've seen happening a lot lately is if you own a boat, you can go and you can buy a federal tuna permit and attach it to said boat. And then you're coming in and saying, I'm a commercial fisherman, I have a commercial tuna permit. You're not a commercial fisherman because you have a tuna permit. Nobody can make their living from just tuna fishing anymore. You know, anybody that does have a marine-related business pays taxes on said marine-related business. I'm not asking to see taxes, I'm just asking to see proof that, they don't even have to send the whole Schedule C. If they just send the top part of it, that has their name and their DBA, you know, and it says Schedule C at the top,
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah,
So there's one more question under the lottery process. It says a fee as determined by the select
That's
board.
right, yeah.
I believe, and that's to be on the wait list, so
Right.
not for the lease. The lease
So
is
it wouldn't be
$100,
$200,
but
it would be
it was
something to
previous-
cover the paperwork and
We bel-
to show true interest.
And it really
in the process.
doesn't cover because we believe the fee has been $10.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask.
But it is something that somebody, apparently we have some on the list, but they need to be notified of this updated policy. And some that have been on the list may no longer qualify, or may
So-
have been changed to a
Yeah.
different
So,
category.
so wait, so we have established a fee previously of $10?
It's what I have been advised by the harbor master's office.
Yeah.
The prior harbor master had been accepting weight fees of $10, but all I can find for the fee determination is called a mooring fee, and the town clerk's office couldn't find anything else. So, but since the current harbor master has indicated that there are a couple on this list, and she believed the fee was $10, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
I will move that we make the fee $10 so that it's official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
All right, all
I'll
in favor?
second it.
$10 fee. But one thing Darcy's worried about is somebody fraudulent, like you just said.
Exactly.
At the time of the application.
No, it's like I said, anybody can buy a license.
Yeah, you get a
So-
state, you get state license.
They show-
Yeah.
So do you want to be specific in your policy to say about submitting the Schedule C along with the letter of intent?
We can,
You know, there's gonna be.
You can
I
work
think-
that out in the
I can
committee.
think of a couple of the guys that, you know.
You can work that out in the
you know,
vetting
that
process.
have an LPA or a standard lease that may not be incorporated,
I'm not incorporated.
no, but they may not be filing a Schedule C either.
It should be.
You think the shellfish harvesters are filing a Schedule C
It's not-
or anything
I
at
mean,
all?
the other way we can do it, I mean, the only other way is to have the fisheries committee do it, because you got a committee made up of all fishermen.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be the ones
Yeah,
that
that's-
know the other fishermen.
Right.
So why don't we go forward with the general statement, proceed to the review stage?
Yes,
Yep,
Yep.
I like that.
yes.
And do
Be,
we
ex- or be, proof of, okay, only lessees that provide proof of a commercial marine-related business. Well, basically,
But they
it
can-
currently says will be,
We'll be, proceed to the review.
proceed to the
stage.
review stage.
I like that.
see, yeah, that sounds good.
I'll move that we accept this policy with
Was
With
that
the-
confusing enough for everybody?
with the change that Terry made.
Thank you. That sounds much better and smoother and
I think we're big
Easier.
enough.
So I-
second it, yeah,
Go ahead.
second, sorry.
All right, I don't see any discussion. No? All in favor?
All in favor?
Is he waiting?
A lot of committees.
All right, now,
Okay, so.
Here we go. Committees,
Oh,
appointments.
that's gonna be
listen how excited
a
he
lot
is.
of time.
Okay,
Here we go.
so,
Did you put this together, Terry?
Tina puts this together. And so, just so you're aware, that I print it black and white for your book, and you can see the term, the people's whose terms, generally speaking, about every one of them, people's whose terms are coming to an end on April 30th, and their status on the side. And so, this will be quicker than I think you all thought.
I think so too, actually.
Bandstand, you had two, there's no new applicants for that committee. You had two members' terms coming to an end. They both have reapplied.
I think we appoint them.
The only thing is, in the recycling committee, Bob has not applied, or has?
Well, do you mind if we go through each
Yeah.
one?
No.
So Bandstand, are you all set with your two members currently
Do
reapplying?
we have to make motions on these? or-
I think as long as right now, and then you can say the appointments as outlined.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine
Yep,
with those.
yep, yep.
And then Board of Appeals, you have four members' terms who are coming to an end on April 30th. 3 out of the 4 have reapplied. The fourth will not be reapplying. So you will have a slot available there, but would you like to reappoint the 3 that have reapplied?
Yes.
Yeah.
Budget is your first time you have some new applicants, so you had 2 terms coming to an end. One has reapplied, the other has been reached out to and has indicated their desire to reapply but has not done so. You have a brand-new applicant from this year, James R. Babarski, and then you have one left over from last year.
She's removing herself. I've
Okay.
spoken to her, and
Okay.
she's not interested anymore.
So you have one current member that has not reapplied, indicated they wanted to, and you have a new applicant.
I'm gonna, since I'm the liaison to this one, I personally think that we should appoint James Barbarski over Jane Meisenbeck for several reasons. I think the first meeting we had with the Budget Committee was the only Budget Committee meeting we had where everybody was there. There was always somebody missing at and some of the times there was 2 people missing. So attendance seemed to be an issue with that. And I'd like to see some new ideas and some new ideas. It seems like a lot of those people had been there for quite some time, and there seemed to be a little, almost like committee think, a group think, but I think a new face and new ideas would be helpful.
Is that, this is James the younger?
Yes,
I'm not sure.
it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, even better.
Just to be straight, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You making that motion? Are you making that motion, Matt, that we apply it?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we,
Yep.
All right, I'll second it.
And that's okay, you can make a final motion at the end about each one.
All right.
So I've check marked those two. So on conservation, you had 1, 2, 3 people whose terms were coming to an end, 2 reapplied, and 1 would not be reapplying. Would you like to reappoint your 2 that have reapplied?
yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then emergency vehicles, we didn't really, we treat them a little differently. We haven't really asked them to reapply, but I assume you want to move forward and reappoint
Yeah.
these.
It's the same people that are on the Fire and Rescue Committee. so.
They're going to
Not-
serve whether they want to or not. We're
Yep.
gonna-
Well, Nelson Barter, I don't think is on fire and rescue. Yes, he is, I'm
He
sorry.
is-
Yep, why wouldn't he be?
He's in
Yes, he is.
Reed's stead.
Okay, okay. And then energy and technology, 2 people whose terms are coming to an end, they both have reapplied.
Sounds good.
Fire and rescue, again, sure you're appointing all of them again.
Whether they like it or not, yeah.
Some have been in to do their form, but they,
They get around to it.
which is very thorough, and we appreciate that. Fisheries Committee, you have all of
Can
them but
we
one.
extend the terms for the fishery committee to be in line with the terms of the other committee?
The
Because it's-
alternating three-term?
Yeah, 'cause
3-year
it's
term?
hard enough to
Yeah,
get fishermen
yeah.
to come in and
Yeah.
apply, and the fact that we've gotten them here and
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
showing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could
You
have
know,
1, 2,
so-
and 3-year.
So we'll stagger the 1, 2, and 3-year
Yeah,
terms?
and I don't think it really matters, or I'd be
Okay.
willing to help, stagger it accordingly.
So we can get together and do that. So I do just want to report that of the people, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that have reapplied.
I don't think Jerry will be reapplying.
Okay. And then Seth Walker.
I think he will. I'll get in touch with him.
Okay.
I think he'll be reapply.
So in this category, you will reappoint everybody except for Jerry Lehman.
Yep.
Okay. And we will, terms to be worked
Yeah,
out.
we'll
Okay.
work it out.
Harbor and Waterfront, I do have one update since this was posted on Tuesday. Caleb Hawks has reapplied, and then there's no response from Jerry Lehman. Do you believe that
I don't
applies?
think he'll be
Okay.
coming back.
So of your 3, 2 have reapplied.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Housing, of your 2 whose terms were expiring, they both have reapplied.
Yep.
And there was 1 new applicant on housing back in 2025. But and I should have pointed that out before you said you would, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there are only 6, so maybe we reach out and she can be the 7th. 1, 2.
Yeah, if there's room.
So we will do that. Okay, marine resources, another update, Robert Boyce has reapplied since this was posted. And so out of the 3 whose terms are ending, 1 will not be reapplying. And you have 2 applicants from 2025 that we can do speak with the liaison on that and do a reach out. But for tonight, just the 2 reapplying.
Sure.
And then Mitchell Field, you have 4 whose terms are coming to an end, and all 4 have reapplied.
Sounds good.
Planning, 1 whose term's coming to an end and has reapplied. Recreation,
Are we missing somebody on planning board?
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
Amy?
Well, no, she resigned,
Yeah, so
She
you
did.
have.
but we only have 6 people,
so
and it's
maybe
supposed
one
to
of
be
the
5 plus 2
is-
associates.
Becomes a
And
regular.
it looks like we have an applicant that we could fill that empty seat with.
Oh, Lori Falcone?
Yeah, and that would just make,
Yeah.
nice. Thank you, I forgot to point out the new one on the side.
no problem.
Okay.
So appoint Lori Falcone and reappoint Heather Allen, associate.
Well,
does-
would we move
Yeah.
Heather Allen up to a regular member because she's the associate that's been there the longest, and appoint Lori as the new associate.
That's generally what we do, yeah.
Thank you. That's what we will do. Recreation, 1, Mark Weaver,
Most definitely.
and he has reapplied. Recycling, there's 2 who, and this is where Selectman Chipman was speaking, 2 have, terms are coming to an end. 1 has reapplied, and the other we do not hear back.
Well, I will see Bob on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to stay on the committee, so, but I'll see him and mention it to him.
And there has been, yeah, we will need him to come in and do the form, too. I think there's been an issue with that in the
Okay.
past. Resilience and sustainability, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 have reapplied, 1 will not be reapplying, and 1, we believe Sean Rule will, but we have not heard back from him. And Mary Ann.
We'll have an update.
So the 4 whose terms were coming to an end, Mary Ann, Sean Rule, Associate, Brittany Tuck will not be reapplying, Howard Marshall and Jay McCrate, Jay and Howie have reapplied, and Tina has not heard back from Sean Rule.
I think Sean is going to want to. He likes the committee. And I
He
just
seems
wanted.
quite involved.
And he's quite involved in the committee, too. I did want to mention, going back to conservation, I believe you had 2 people that could be interested.
Sean Rule and Matt Kales.
Yeah, and I would suggest that, since Sean is now on resiliency, that was from last year.
Yes, that was last year.
Matt Kale has come in just recently and came to our last meeting and is very interested in being on the committee.
Thank you, Mary Ann. I
You're welcome.
neglected to mention that.
And there, we would
It's in my
have
pattern,
room for
this
one
thing.
additional person on
There's
conservation.
just so many names.
There's so many names, and I'm
So
skipping
many
over the news. I apologize for that. So
So where do
the-
they stand
the-
on that?
are you agreeing with Matt Kales?
I'll go with Matt Kales, and it's nothing against Sean Rule, but Sean Rule is already on, I think,
Several.
several committees,
Yes.
you know, and
And probably at the time in 2025, when he applied for it, you know, a lot of people will put him down, assuming they're not going to get them all.
yeah, I did that.
And then we turn around and put him on all,
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah, so I think Matt Kales, especially where Mary Ann just said he came recently and seemed interested, and like I said, it's nothing against Sean Rule, he's valuable where we have him, and I don't want to spread him too thin.
Absolutely. Town lands, you have 3 whose terms were coming to an end. 1 will not be reapplying, the other 2 have reapplied.
Yep. The only question, should we move Beth Eisman from associate to a regular member where we're losing Ned? And if we get a new applicant, make them the associate?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yep,
Yep.
good.
I mean, we can reach out. Sometimes some people don't want to, I don't.
Yeah,
know,
that's
but-
fine.
Yeah. And then stewards, the policy is you're automatically a steward if you're a Town Lands Committee member. These are stewards that are not committee members, and those are typically for 2 years, so those are all good until next year. So I don't know if you want me to go through the
I think
name.
the only one we really need to make a decision on that I can remember is Marine Resources. We were losing somebody that wasn't applying, and well, there's 7 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we could appoint both of the people that have applied. And the committee still wouldn't even be full.
You could do that action. What concerns me is when it says 2025, I'm not sure what time, and so I don't still know if there's an interest for that.
I know Chris
But then they
does.
can certainly.
I can't speak for Sean, but I
Okay.
know Chris does.
But then they can certainly decline to come in,
Yeah.
and so if you want to make both those, if you want to make that part of your list, that would be great, and we'll
More
reach
up to
out.
Kevin, because he's the liaison.
Yeah.
You can let them know they've been appointed, and if they decide not to, I guess we go from there.
Yep, at Chris Williams. For Hancock.
Okay.
Michael Bernier, is that Mike Bernier's son?
Yeah.
Young Mike?
It's pretty darn good. I think we got
He's already appointed.
everybody that applied on our committee.
Yep.
How many members are on there?
Not too bad.
Most of them are pretty close to full.
Excuse me,
Just a lot of committees.
6,
Oh,
Yeah.
anyway, yep.
because one's not reapplying.
We could get rid of some.
So if you want to now make your motion to make those appointments as laid out.
I move that we make the appointments as laid out.
I will second.
I see no discussion, all in favor?
You were right, Terry. That was not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
All right.
Oh, we have one more committee.
New
issue.
service,
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
new
Yeah.
emergency service building committee.
Yeah, and you were just saying we get 2 minutes.
So this really comes before the board so that you can formally appoint members to serve on an emergency services building committee. The interview team kind of morphed into the team that's been meeting with the architect and the construction manager, but it's really time to formalize it. And even during those meetings, we invited representatives from each of the fire departments to come, so they always did have representation. But this would be a more formal approach. There's a proposed mission statement to participate in and oversee the planning and construction of an emergency services building that is fiscally responsible, operationally effective, and designed to strengthen the delivery of emergency services in Harpswell. During the process, a committee representative is expected to provide periodic updates, no less than quarterly. We could leave that out or keep that in, whatever you think, to the select board and to the public at select board meetings. And then the proposed members would be the chair of the select board, Kevin Johnson, the 2 chiefs in the community. One is Chief David Mercier for Harpswell Neck. The other is Chief Benjamin Wallace for Cundy's Harbor and Orrs Bailey Islands. And then Nelson Barter is the representative for the Harpswell Neck Fire Department. Aaron Dupree is for the Cundy's Harbor Volunteer Fire Department. And then we received notice that Mason Smith is interested in being the Orrs Bailey Island representative. So the staff to support this committee would be myself and Fire Administrator Mike Drake. We have a meeting today, and things are really progressing.
There.
The concept has basically stayed similar to what we had at the time of the vote, but it's now being reconfigured to be sort of off the community drive to the right-hand side as you're driving in, so they won't have to reconstruct Community Drive, which would save a lot of money on the project. You know, what we're meeting and talking about now, you know, involves things like, should the building be all metal? Should it be all wood? Should it have part metal, part wood? We're getting figures from Wright Ryan. We got to bring this, you know, project in on budget, under budget preferably, but that may be difficult. So, you know, there's a lot that goes on at these meetings, and we're just beginning to get to the point where, you know, they need more decisions from the town and the committee. So the committee would be making some decisions and providing some feedback throughout this design process. Because we've got to move from conceptual to, you know, sort of what is going to be built, so that the construction manager can give us ultimately a price, a guaranteed maximum price is what we're trying to get to.
I do want to point out one thing. The drawings that I saw last showed the TV station parking lot being included. Well, there's a well.
I mentioned that today at the
Okay.
planning meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna move it,
Going to move the well?
yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna be cheaper.
It's going to be sitting in the middle of the parking
Yeah,
lot.
I think that's gonna be a cheaper alternative than reconstructing
A road.
a road, so,
All right.
Well, that's the other thing, is sharing the well.
Yeah, right.
right, yeah.
Well, I'll tell
yeah.
you, that well we don't drink it or anything. That was the test bore for the dump. So it was there.
Oh, was
It's
it?
got water in it, so we, we use it to flush the toilet and things like that, but we
But that's
we
true.
don't drink it.
You
Well-
have bottled water over there.
Right.
yeah.
So in other words,
Wish you'd told me that before
Well-
I had a drink the other
yeah,
day.
so in other words, if that well is in the way, yeah, we drill another one and we just, the new well just send the water to the TV station.
Yeah, no, whatever. Just
'Cause,
don't leave us without water over
Well,
there, that's all.
It's one thing they're gonna look for is a septic site.
Yeah, well, good luck over there. That's, yeah.
We walked it today, it is pretty dry,
Oh, down in the woods there?
yeah.
Okay, because we're still, there's a wetland down behind the radio station that's quite wet down in there. And that might even be either a tributary stream or a perennial stream, which requires setbacks, so, but we're gonna
They're looking
find,
at
we'll
that.
find out
yeah,
about that.
Yeah.
So far away for, it's considered a minor wetland.
I think this looks fine, and
yeah.
I kinda like the part where it says to report back to the select board, but I don't think we need a representative per se. I think Kevin's
No.
kind of the guy that can report back to the board.
Yeah, anything pops up either,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Well, I will move that we accept the proposed mission statement and the proposed members and the proposed staff support.
I will second that.
All in favor?
And do we just want to leave committee representative knowing it would be the chair, or would you like to strike it?
Whatever is best.
Yeah.
I was trying to take the heat off you by putting a committee rep so you could delegate it.
No,
if you
that's why
wanted
you
to.
signed up for chair, to take all the heat.
Right, right.
I don't mind.
So I can leave it, or I can
Just leave
I
it.
can
Just
put
leave
the
it. I think
chair
it's
and-
It
easier.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
It don't matter.
okay.
He's a representative
Yeah.
and a chair. He can
Yeah.
be both.
I will tell you, today's discussion, they were looking for feedback on heating systems, and
Yeah.
we are going to loop the Energy and Technology Committee in.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get into more details now, and I think formalizing a committee is the right thing to do at this point. And we are going to be, recording all of those meetings, including today's, so.
Oh, nice. All right.
Because we do think there's a lot of interest in this topic, and we need
I think so too.
to get those out there.
All right.
Thank you. So did they moved, seconded, and approved it?
Yeah, yeah. I seconded it.
Alright.
David motioned it, and all three of us voted in favor.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good to go. We're gonna sign the June 9th, 2026 warrant.
Yes, so I do want to mention tonight, there were a few tweaks in the latest version. It still is going to achieve what the board wants to do, and that is you really want to step up the enforcement of the rules that you establish on town properties. And so that's really what we're trying to do with this language. And I think when you discussed it at your workshop a couple weeks ago, we had some language about, not only could the animal control officer enforce it, but, law enforcement. And then we had some language about, and anyone that you might appoint.
Yeah, right.
But we did get some further legal feedback, and we're encouraged to go with language that it would be a qualified law enforcement officer or a town official authorized to enforce state and local animal control laws, and that they would need to have some training.
Right, yeah.
So I just want to be clear about that,
Yeah.
and I do think the people who attended the workshop were supportive of you taking this next step.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we just did change that language slightly from what was handed out at that workshop. And on the, what was posted with the agenda, we had a few little things we needed to change. So what I handed out tonight includes all of the underlined language, which is new, and I think when I sent Terry something to post, it didn't include some of the underlined language that it should have.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is this is going to be voted on by secret ballot. The ballot will not have the language, but it will say that it's posted on the town's website. It's available from the town clerk's office. It will say that on the ballot, so people who get absentee ballots will see that. And then I do believe when they come in to vote, if they ask the clerk for it, she will provide that to them. We weren't able to work this all out in time to have everything on the actual ballot itself. But the question is on there, shall an ordinance entitled Proposed Amendments to the Animal Control Ordinance regarding rules and enforcement on town properties be enacted? If you could all just, let us know that you all recommend it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Right.
did, okay.
I recommend the latest rendition.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And the other piece that we need you to discuss tonight is setting a public hearing. And because it will be voted on by referendum,
Yep.
the public hearing serves as the opportunity for people to ask questions, make comments. So we are proposing that it would be 2 weeks from tonight here at 6:30. I think that's the time we went with, and we put something in the anchor that said we expected the board would set the public hearing, but
Oh,
you
I so
hadn't yet,
moved, so there, you got it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Would that, just for clarification for myself, we'd have it like during a board meeting?
Well, you'd have to stop.
Right,
every-
we'd
right,
stop, start a
yes,
public hearing
right,
like we do
right,
sometimes for like the liquor
right.
license stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All in favor?
So you set the public hearing, and can your motion also include signing this special town meeting
I
warrant?
move that we sign the special town meeting. warrant.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Great, thank you. It's going to be on
June
June 9th, a Tuesday, the same day that the school budget is voted on.
Isn't that the
And
primaries?
primaries as well, so I think
Right.
there'll be
Busy
quite a
day.
voter
Oh,
turnout.
yes.
That would
they
be
will
good voter turnout.
Yeah, it will,
Yeah.
You bet.
More than a normal June
right,
referendum.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Salary and wage
Oh,
adjustments.
let me just- So wage and salary adjustments. What? This is coming to you after, a couple of workshops with the select board, with you having information from the salary and wage consultant. And, essentially, all the employees are receiving the across-the-board 2.8% increase. But in addition, the report mentioned several positions that the town should consider adjusting, and one of them was town administrator, another was deputy town administrator treasurer, assessing agent, fire administrator, recreation director and community services, planner, and also our communications specialist and assessing person. So those positions you discussed to be getting, larger increases than the 2.8, because we looked at how some of these positions are being paid in the local market, and we needed to do some work in that area. In addition to those increases that you had discussed previously, the person who is working at the recycling center with the manager, who is not, this person is not retiring, is not leaving. It's recommended that that person get a little bit more than the 2.8, because they have taken on a lot of additional responsibilities and will be taking on additional responsibilities. I believe that recommendation is to take that up another, was it 6%? I believe.
I'm
in
familiar with
that
this case, and I wholeheartedly
Okay.
agree with it.
And then also, our filming position, it was not part of the review process that the consultant looked at, but we currently pay just under $20 an hour, and we're recommending that go up to 22. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I believe that are those the only two deviations from the 2.8 and the positions you had previously discussed. And, thank you. So in addition to some of these other increases, and I will say that most of the increases with the adjustments were 5% increases. In one case, we had two cases, we had a 10% increase. But then the board also gave people who were not receiving anything beyond 2.8, you looked at longevity. And so if somebody was here for 15 years or more, there was a 2% longevity increase. If they were here for 10 years or more, there was a 1.5% longevity increase. That swept up 4 people. The 2% one for 15 years swept up 1. And if you were here for 5 years or more service, you picked up 1% in addition to the 2.8, and that picked up 4 people. So thank you for reminding me of that. In addition to the salary adjustments, you also looked at longevity.
Well, I want to point out that longevity represents institutional knowledge and memory, so I mean, that's it's very important.
Loyalty.
And loyalty, and that we keep those people around, yeah.
I will also say, we have a policy where, you know, our employees are evaluated. Most of it is self-evaluation, but then we also sit down with each department head, the administration does, and we have conversations and reviews of their work and discussion about goals. And that process has been completed, with the exception of myself, which the board does, so we'll have to schedule that. But in addition, the town's policy also makes any increases that the board approves retroactive to January 1. Because our budget year is January to December. It's included in these town meeting budgets, but they don't get approved till March. Then we go through this evaluation process, and now we're in front of the board, seeing if you want to support the information that's presented.
So what are you looking for here, that we approve the adjustments?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we approve the adjustments as just stated.
I second it.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right. 2026 lease for Pammy's Ice Cream Parlor.
So it's hard to believe, but we are, we're almost ready for ice cream season, thankfully. And so this is the final season under a 5-year agreement. That's hard to believe too, isn't it?
Wow.
It's been more than 5 years though, wasn't it?
Well, because I think there was the first agreement was either 3 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and then we had a second agreement of 5 years, so it's been a while. But we are proposing that essentially overall a 2.7% increase. There's a rate that the town charges while the business is open, essentially from May through October. And then there's another kind of storage fee that we charge for those months when it's not operational. So-
How come we're raising it?
Pardon?
How come we're raising it?
I think because various costs go up
I ask
and.
that every year.
But it's minimal as well, and all costs go up, and including the cost of ice cream.
Yes.
So she's charging more. I mean, it's just, I feel like,
We're causing the cost of ice cream to go up.
I know.
no, what I'm saying is I feel like, what does
I think
Chairman
it's, we're
call me
talking
every year in Christmas?
$120 is what we're going up, $120.
I know,
yeah. We do have to fix like a pothole in the driveway, or
Yeah.
maybe there's more than a pothole,
Well,
but
we've
there's
done
kind
that
of,
in 10 years.
there's an area that needs to be addressed. I will say, we no longer mow, that responsibility was,
Taken care of.
yeah, was,
So has this been discussed with Pammy at all?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And just my final comment, it's set aside who you're renting it to. I think a lot of times, again, the chairman can call me Scrooge after this, but we react with our emotions. It's a fun place to go to. It is prime real estate.
Yes.
And all costs have come up, and excluding who is leasing it there, I think it makes sense that there's a minimal increase, and all we did was bring it up by the cost of living.
Have we increased it in the past every
Yes.
year?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I move that we keep it the same. And
Really?
don't increase it.
Really?
I'm pro-business. I feel like it's nickel and diming. It's $120. It's not gonna fix any of those things we talked about. It just seems like we're nickel and diamond businesses to me. So I move that we keep it the same. It doesn't have, I'm just one of 3.
I second it.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, I was about to.
You were?
I was about to.
All right. Any more discussion on it?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Appointment of officers.
what was that?
Wait, where is that?
What-
Oh, I missed, that was the one we added. Yep, sorry.
Yeah.
What'd you
Forgot to
add?
write it on
This
my
is the
thing.
officials, the appointments of the
Oh,
officials.
got it, okay.
And this, I handed out
I
a
never
list.
said where it was.
Yeah.
I'll make this simple. I move the slate.
That was easy.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
There wasn't much.
Public comment. You been waiting around all night? Mary Ann, huh?
You got nothing better to do than sit here and watch this clown show?
At home, they're cheering the NFL draft.
Oh,
There's a hockey
I'd
game right
trade.
now.
I would trade.
All right. If there's nothing else, is there anything else?
how
Other
about
business?
can you talk about medication collection? I forgot.
Oh,
You
didn't.
stopped me from doing it earlier.
you guys were fighting over it, so.
You have everyone's undivided attention
Christie
now.
would like to remind everybody that on Saturday from noon till when?
Oh, no, 10 to 2. Sorry.
Saturday, the
From
25th.
10 to 2 on Saturday, it's medication collection day by the Cumberland
Yep.
County Sheriff's Department.
Saturday,
you.
the 25th. And a
Thank you,
reminder
thank
that
you.
that's also
Johnny
roadside
Gillum
cleanup
Day.
day.
Roadside cleanup, thank you.
John Gillum Day.
Other than that, is there any other business?
There we
No, I think we're done.
I'm sure we are. In that case, we're adjourned.